Monday motivation. Start your week off flying high. Monday motivation. It's your time to rise and shine.
Hi guys, happy Monday. This is Rebecca here again. And today we have Charissa Woodward with us today on our Monday Motivation podcast. Again, has been a joy to be with you guys. You guys have been incredible, and I love to see all the downloads everywhere around the nations. Charissa is someone very special and dear to my heart. She is the owner and founder of Gracie to Organize, and she has incredible journey to share with us. I think Charissa, a lot of the millennials, the younger generation that have a lot of excuse to say why they don't do what they do. I think you have a huge purpose and a huge calling to tell them that there's no excuse, that you can be who you want to be, do what you want to be, own your future. And I think you are a great example of that. So I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you.
And can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah. So, like Rebecca said, I have an organizing business called Grace to Organize. I live in Colorado Springs, and I just like to spend my free time organizing and just hanging out with people. It's been an awesome journey to start my business. I never thought I could be a business owner, and it took me some time to come around to the idea, but I have realized that, like Rebecca said, we all have purpose. So it's really fun to just step into that. I'm single and I don't have any kids, so I have a lot of free time. So I just focus on what I love doing.
That's beautiful. So, Charissa, today I had this huge feeling that our podcast should be a little different. Okay. And the weather has definitely changed in Colorado. And I feel like through this weather comes different challenges in the way people feel in the morning, So let's put it this way. It might be a fantastic sunshine morning in Florida, but in Colorado, we start getting the cold weather and facing our struggle. So with that question, my question for you today, it's so different, but I think it's so resound if people can hear this. And can you tell us how growing up or in your business, what is the struggle number one struggle that you had to face it to be where you are today?
Yeah, for me, that was definitely growing in confidence. So just believing that I had a gift that other people would value was a huge hurdle for me to overcome. And still, there are days that I struggle with that. The things that I do come so naturally for me. So it was hard to understand that people would value that in me. But to realize that it's a special gift is super important. And the best part is that we all have these special gifts that come together and we complement each other. So I get to do what I love, and then other people get to do the same, and we just get to collaborate together. So that was a big thing for me, was overcoming a lack of confidence. But to overcome that, I really just had to tell myself a few things, like, you were born to do this and you are gifted and people value your gift. Just saying little things like that helped me. And then just trying to keep your mindset right and be really positive.
That's amazing. That's great. Because that is it's almost that little voice, that lack of confidence that says no one wants what you have to offer. It's such a lie, because it's not true, because everyone has something incredible to offer. And if it's even the gift of organizing, I really believe it's a gift. There's so much around that involves people's life, people's well-being. And it's tremendous to think about that. So thank you for answering that. And my next question for you is, you were talking about the confidence that you have to confront and build your business. What is your, how do you practice like getting motivated, because it is not easy to keep up the motivation and the try in saying, this is what I'm doing, this is what my vision. So how do you do that? How do you keep up your motivation?
Well, that can look different, really depending on my mood. But just like this morning, I had an organizing job. And every time I go to a new job, I get a little nervous because I don't know maybe the person well, or I don't know what to expect. And again, I sometimes have this small voice that says, you're not going to do a good job. So like, I just get nervous. But I like to go on Instagram actually and look at before and afters of other organizers. And I just get really motivated and inspired by those pictures because I see the before and afters and I see the drastic change that organizers make in other people's lives. So even if it wasn't my job that I'm looking at, I can see that it would help someone a lot if someone came in and labeled their pantry and just made it look really nice, how good that would feel. So that really motivates me, honestly. And then my clients' reactions really, they keep me going. For example, today, that organizing job I was at, I felt like I didn't do like a miraculous job. I felt like, I cleaned and organized it, but to me, it wasn't spectacular. But then she looked at it and she was like, wow, how did you do that? That's what I get a lot is like, how did you do? And so it just surprises me that they have that reaction, but it feels really good because it shows me that they don't feel like they could do it. And if they had the time, they wouldn't have the energy and they don't have the ideas I do. So to them, it's a huge change. And that really motivates me a lot.
Right. That's amazing. Now, let's put it this way. What keeps you going is because you realize that you're not just in the business of organizing, you're in the business of changing people's life and you're serving them. And that is huge, right? Now, we know, and I personally know that you have a gift of encouraging others, that you like to write little notes, that you like to write cards. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey that you have and why do you do that?
That's something that I've just always kind of had a knack for. Like ever since I was a kid, I just really liked giving people things. And it's just grown over time. I think when people give me things, it makes me feel really special. So, maybe that's one of my love languages is gifts. But I just like people to know that I'm thinking about them and to be thoughtful. And then in the organizing, yes, I get to work very closely with people. So a lot of times I show up to a stranger's house. I've never met them before. And they're going to show me the most vulnerable and messy parts of their lives. And so I just feel like I have to have this special grace on them for being able to do that, to let me into those messy parts. And a lot of times there can be really uncomfortable feelings. Maybe they feel ashamed or guilty, or they just feel overwhelmed. It's not always really positive for them. So I feel like it's part of my job to just really go out of my way to make them feel comfortable. So any way I can do that, and they can like see my personality and like, hey, I'm not here to judge you, I'm just here to help, then they're a lot more relaxed. So I think it's just part of my personality, and I thank God for it because it really works well with my business.
That's awesome. Now, Charissa, here's one thing I wanted to ask is that if you could name it 5 years from now, where you like to be, where do you like to be 5 years from now? Not just in Grace to Organize, not just in the business aspect, but as a human, this beautiful human that I know. What would be the vision for you?
Wow. That's awesome. And I'm really glad you always ask me this because it does challenge me. I'll be vulnerable and tell you the first thing I'm thinking, which is that I want to be completely healed from all of the things that happened to me as a child and a young adult. I want to be really secure in myself and be really healthy. So emotionally, that's where I want to be. Physically, I'd like to be married and I'd like to have my own house and possibly be starting a family. That's always been the biggest desire of my heart, to be married and to have children. I really want to pour into their lives and just be a really good mom. And then I like my business because I get to incorporate that. So I want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I'd like to still organize for people in my free time. So I want to have a healthy balance of staying home and working. So that's an overview of where I want to be in 5 years, but I have a lot of dreams. I like to be really ambitious. So I want to have some books written. I want to travel to other countries. I've only been a little bit out of the US, and I'd like to go, to Europe and Australia, anywhere I can go, really. And I want to go on some more mission trips. I mean, the list goes on and on.
That's wonderful. That's really cool, that exactly how you want your life to look like. Now, I always ask all our guests that stop by our Monday Motivation, and I always ask them, do you have a quote that right now really speaks to you? And can you tell us why?
Okay, let me think about that for a second. Okay. I don't know if I can remember anything off the top of my head, but I will tell you 3 of my favorite people that I love their quotes. C.S. Lewis and Charles Spurgeon. And I recently found this new girl that I really love. Her name is Morgan Harper Nichols. And she's a great artist with words. And she speaks a lot about grace. So I'm very attracted to the word grace. So I love everything that she writes. And I like poetry too. So she writes some really poetic things. So I wish I had a quote to remember off the top of my head.
That's okay. we can always add the quote into the listing of the podcast, and this is the quote of the day that Charissa had chose. And what will be a very last thing that we can share with our listeners that are right now in despair, are lost, are abandoned, are hurt? They don't know how to even start organizing their own lives. They're listening to this because they just think that they need some kind of thing to help them and motivate them. So in your own Charissa words, if you were in that place of despair and solitude, what would be the words that you tell yourself at this moment?
There is a lot of grace available for the situation that you're in. Even when things are hard, there is always something to be thankful for. And grace is kind of like a bridge from where you are to where you want to be. So you just got to find where the bridge is and start walking, because there's more grace available as you keep going. So the smallest little step will help you. I tell my clients that a lot. Baby steps are big steps. Like every little thing you do, you're getting closer to your goal. And that's the thing with being overwhelmed is like a big feeling, but you just got to find a small feeling to start coming against that. So the smallest little smile or hope can help you overcome. So that's what I would say.
That is wonderful, Charissa. Charissa, I love you so much. I think you're brilliant. I think the places that you're going to get in life is going to be majestic. Everyone, please check it out. Grace to Organize. I'll be adding the link in the podcast. If you live in Denver area or Colorado Springs, this is the location where she serves. But I hope and I believe that pretty soon you'll be able to connect with Charissa. Doesn't matter where you are in the nation, that she'll be able to connect and help you out in many different cluster clutter of life. And I think her mission is beautiful. And we're so happy that she was able to stop by a Monday Motivation podcast and just chat with us. Charissa, thank you. You're a sunshine to so many people. Keep writing those words, the encouraged words that you give to people. Keep doing what you're doing and see, because your future is bright.
Thank you, Rebecca. I really appreciate it. I love sharing with you all.
Ah, thank you.